I'm from New Mexico on the Navajo Reservation, on the New Mexico side of Northwest, small town called Tehachapi. Tehachapi, New Mexico, north of Gallup, New Mexico, about 28 miles. And I lived in Washington, and as an artist, I survived, and it's one of the good things that keeps me connected to the world, and it helps me guide my way as a full-time student, still doing my artwork and going to school. It's just something that, keeps my dreams alive, so to speak. When I rode, my first memory as riding a horse was 6 years old in the mountains, and I rode beside my grandpa all day, and we pretty much just went to go find the sheep and the goats and keep track of the cattle that he had, and he was my babysitter basically, and he gave me a lot of visual in the mountains, and gave me a lot of knowledge about the horse, and he would talk to them, and they would come over. He would talk to them in the air, and then like 5 minutes later, the horses would come. It was crazy, and I try to do that, but they would only respond to me when I whistle. And so that was my learning about the horse, and then we used to train the horses, I sit there and watch him train the horse, and not in the corral. He'd be in the horse training method outside the corral. Using the trees right on the open. And so he did it old school ways, and in a sand dune. We're in a ditch. Dry wash area. You can get on them too right there. And the wild ones, you run them into a dry wash where they can't really run up and down, so ones like that, the Mustangs, and that's in the mountain. Then there's another way to do it down in the desert area for those kind of horses down there. So the mountain horses and the desert horse, are kind of two different things to me, but they still have the same spirit, a lot of riding in my childhood, fell off horses, quarter horses, and all those, just riding bareback, we weren't rich, couldn't have a saddle. But, if you had a saddle, you're pretty wealthy, that was how it was back in the day, the bridle and everything, we used the twine, we braided our own halters, and we braided our own, lead ropes and such like that, and we jumped on them, with our best clothes, we used to ride like that, and we had a good trail ride a lot. Everywhere we went in the mountains, in the desert, was on was riding, I've seen a lot of places out in the city around here and experienced some hardships, as an artist, and just trying to sell, the things that I want to sell, as far as my artwork goes, showing, and even with amongst the other tribes, like there's no native galleries around. There's native owned galleries. I've looked around, and I've seen only museums and other galleries who don't support native culture with art. I've been in the Northwest region here in Tacoma, Seattle, for about nearly 10 years now. I learned a great deal about the people here and how they are connected with the water and other elements that my people, we cherish too. It's that we can't get some of these things on our lands. So I really paid attention to how they sing their songs around here, and they live around the water. I used to work for the Puyallup tribe, and there's a good man I call him my uncle. His name is Ray McLeod, and he told me that Canoe family was pretty sacred to their people, and their canoe was a pretty sacred thing. They invited me out a few times, but I haven't been able to go out there. Ever since then, I had a few dreams like this one behind me, you know, and so it's just Eagle is my friend, you know. It's like my good friend, and takes me around. So this is where he took me. This is all I am, you know. It's indigenous. They call us Native Americans. They call me Navajo. Elliott Gibson Nation. Not as small, so much as seen on T-shirt. Sitting on Jenny, Late Forge in Mexico.